नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, राम राम सर, हमारी वड़कम। आप सभी का ऑल्टरनेट मीडिया में फिर से स्वागत है। मैं आपकी होस्ट गायत्री देवी। हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए फिर से PVR Narasimha Rao sir, who's an author, engineer, astrologer, and we are going to talk about a very special topic today: havan, home, and lot of other backward forward topics which will blow your mind off. We are going to talk something very special and very interesting. So a very warm welcome on the show, sir. Ji sir.
Thank you. Namaskar, Gayatri ji, and namaskar to all your audiences. Today, I want to talk about the importance of havan, importance of doing havan on your own and on a regular basis. If you look at any religion in the world, not just Hinduism, but most ancient religions, with the exception of a couple of religions that came in the recent millennium or two, most religions knew the importance of fire in connecting with the divine. In every religion, there is a fire ritual where you light a fire and you make some offerings in the fire and you try to visualize God in the fire and you think that fire is connecting you with the divine. And also it is awakening your subtle perception, etc. This is a very common concept, whether you take the Mayans of Central America or Incas of the South America or Native Americans of the North America or various pagan traditions in Africa or aboriginals of Australia, of course in India, and even in Europe, the pagans who lived there before Christianity, they worship fire. Everyone knew that once you light a fire and you try to meditate in front of that fire, you try to connect with God in front of that fire, fire makes it easier. There's something special about fire, and every religion was aware of it. And in our tradition, we have some ranas, some debts to various beings of the universe, and certain rituals are prescribed every day. These are called nicha karmas. If you look at our shastras, there are 5 ranas that we have, based on which there are 5 rituals that are prescribed. The first one is with the Brahman, with the supreme being, supreme cosmic being who created the whole universe. And for that, by the way, the shastras call them Panchyagnas. You do 5 great offerings. Yajna literally means, even though people think it's a fire ritual, yajna literally means offering or sacrifice. So the yajna that is recommended for the supreme cosmic being is called Brahma Yajna. And Brahma Yajna is basically studying scriptures and teaching scriptures to others, whether it's Puranas, whether it's Upanishads, studying various scriptures which take you closer to the Brahman, take you closer to the supreme being. So that is Brahma Yajna. That pays off the rana to the supreme being, and you have to do it every day. And the second rana is to the devatas. Devatas are celestial beings or divine beings who are ethereal in nature, but they are out there around us. Also, they are inside us, and they are the reason why we can function the way we do. For example, when we think of something, the intellect is working, and intellect is nothing but Brahaspati, who's depicted as the guru of the teacher of the devatas, various gods. So there is a Brahaspati in the skies who's guiding the various devatas. He's also inside us, guiding our various good qualities as our wisdom. So like that, various devatas manifest within us as various aspects of our awareness and consciousness, and they're also out there. So they make the world go around. They also make us go around. So they are very important. So we have a runa to them, and that runa is fulfilled using what is known as Devayagna, and Shastras define it as Homaha. Homaha is Devayagna. Homaha or Havan is basically a fire ritual. You have a fire in a fire pit, and you are making offerings, either ghee, samidha, which is basically wood sticks or twigs or firewood, and various other things like nuts, seeds, various food materials. You offer them in fire for various devatas, whether it is Ganesha, whether it is Durga, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Brahaspati, whoever you want to worship, you make offerings to those devatas, and whichever devatas you make offering to, those devatas become happy. In other words, that aspect of your consciousness becomes stronger and it functions better. Your connection with that aspect of your consciousness becomes strengthened. So that is Devayagna. Brahmayagna is studying and teaching scriptures. Devayagna is doing a havan for various devatas. The third one is Pitruyagna. It is basically, Pitrus literally means ancestors. Ancestors are really deceased beings. So devatas are the unseen beings who are around us and guiding us. Pitris are the beings who are on earth, but basically they left now. So they exist in a different plane, and because of our runas to them, they see, for example, the ones that we are connected genetically, they affect us still. And even the ones that we are not connected to genetically, we may have a strong runa. For example, suppose a teacher taught you a lot of important things, and you owe your whole career to a particular teacher who influenced your life, and he's dead. So some of his desires, some of his ambitions will resonate on your mind and influence you. So that rana, to pay off, you do tarpana. It is basically a ritual where you offer water from a particular point with some sesame seeds. So tarpana is defined as pitriyagna, the offering to the deceased beings. And then we are done with the unseen beings, supreme being, gods, and then deceased beings. Now we come to the alive beings, and there are two types. One is human beings, and the other one is other beings, non-human beings like birds, animals, trees, etc. So the yajna recommended for manushas, human beings, is Manushya yajna is defined in Shastras as Atithi Satkara, which basically means taking care of your guests, being nice to people, the guests who come to you, taking good care of them and feeding them, etc. And of course, it also applies to the online world that we live in, the social media. If you are on Facebook or Twitter or some other social media, be nice to people. Don't basically be harsh. Think of them as guests to your home, basically your virtual home, and be nice to them. Take care of them. So taking care of your atithis, your guests, whoever you, basically other human beings that you encounter with, treating them with dignity, respect, love, is basically Manushya Yajna. And the fifth yajna is for the animals, and it is defined as feeding animals, birds, etc. So every day you are supposed to feed some birds or animals to the best of your ability. So these are the five uh, parts of the Nitya Karma, five Pancha Mahayajnas that are prescribed in the Shastras as Nitya Karma. And of course, feeding animals and birds and taking care of your guests and studying and teaching scriptures, these are all stuff that people can do apart from rituals. They are not they are considered as normal activities. Now there are two rituals mentioned here, havan and then tarpan. So if you do those two rituals, they satisfy two of the five major ranas. So from that perspective, our shastras put a lot of emphasis on doing it on a regular basis. It's basically a niche karma. And moreover, like I said earlier, there is precedent in pretty much every tradition, every religious tradition that is worthwhile in the world, of trying to make offerings to gods, various divine beings, whatever names you may give them, however you may visualize them. Every religion had some concepts of divine beings who are guiding us, who are controlling us, and this is your way of basically paying them and also strengthening them within yourself. Basically, your relationship with them, it is strengthened over time. So that is why havan is a very important activity.
There is one more thing. It is said that fire is the biggest purifier of the five elements. So that is also being said. And how does
Yeah, that is
doing
actually, once again, I just want to say one thing. In our shastras, in our language, Sanskrita, there are many synonyms for a word. One of the words for Agni is Pavaka. Pavakaha literally means Agni. And you know what Pavakaha means? Pavayati iti Pavakaha. So one who purifies is Pavaka. So one of names of Agni is purifier. So Agni is the one that purifies. Water is one thing that purifies, but Agni is another thing that really purifies. Actually, on this note, I just want to go back. I talked about many religions except Christianity and Islam. I think most religions worship fire. But I want to make a note for any Christians who may be watching this. Even in Christianity, I think in Bible, I forget which book. I think it is the book of Saint Matthew or somebody. I forget the exact book, but there is a quote that says, I baptize you with water, but there is one coming after me whose shoes I am not worthy of holding. He will purify you with fire. So basically, he will baptize you with fire. Baptism is basically an act of purification, and normally water is sprinkled for purification in the Christian activity of baptism. So the thing is, it is possible that because of the pagan traditions that existed before, even Christ or other saints, that other apostles of Christ, were aware that fire is a superior element as far as purification is concerned. It is even better than water. But the thing is, for their time, they did what was suitable or appropriate. But he said, somebody will come who's more bigger than me, who will actually baptize you with fire. So even they knew the value of fire. So that's the point I want to make. But the bottom line is, most religions, except one religion where the prophet said the fire reminds him of hellfire. So basically, he called it forbidden. So fire worship is absent in that particular religion that came in the last 1500 years. In pretty much every other religion, they either directly use fire to reach God or become closer to God, or they know that fire is useful but stay away from it, like in Christianity.
Christianity stays away, and Islam demonizes fire, while we pray to fire. That's the three.
Not
Three
just we, but
largest.
so many religions. We
So
pray to
many.
fire, and we pray to various gods using fire as the medium. Fire is the most potent medium for connecting with the subtle aspects of our consciousness and strengthening them. And one more thing, if anybody actually, irrespective of the ritual that was used, whether it was short or long, if there is a nicely burning animated fire in front of you, decent sized fire, you just sit and meditate. Forget about ritual, etc. Just meditate in front of fire. You will see that your focus will be at a different level. That's the thing with fire. Fire makes your mind more concentrated, and that's the meaning of pavaka, because it purifies. Various other distractions will basically be temporarily suppressed or controlled. So it is known as uh, something that magnifies your attention, your focus, the goodness that is within you. It just magnifies it, and you will end up being able to meditate better. You will end up being able to focus better.
Right. Periana, coming to the next question. There is a lot of science involved behind Homa or Havan, as we call it. And this is, I mean, we were much advanced than Western civilization or Western countries. Now, even the Western countries are accepting that fact. Ji.
Yeah. See, there were some studies. For example, at the time of Bhopal, when there was a gas leak tragedy in Bhopal, it was seen that there were some homes where fire ritual was done on a regular basis, on a daily basis, and in those homes, basically people were saved. So stuff like this, there is some documented evidence of some protective energy created by the fire ritual. And apart from it, Gayatri Parivar, they teach Gayatri Havan that anybody can do. So there are a lot of members of Gayatri Parivar. I think I forget the full name, but you can search online for Gayatri Parivar and you can get them. So they teach Havan, but with the Gayatri mantra. So they did some research, and they found that by doing the Gayatri mantra, they studied the impact on heart rate, your pulse, etc. And aura, they had an instrument to measure the aura, and they found that it has an impact on the aura. So there have been some scientific studies by various groups that suggest that by doing Havan, there is some impact on your physical well-being also. But my point is this: physical well-being is only the tip of the iceberg. What really happens is the inner well-being, not just the surface level well-being. where like your heart rate, your pulse, basically being very calm and being in a regular pattern. More importantly, your mind is in such a nice space. If you spend enough time with fire on a regular basis and have that connection with fire, you will be able to focus better and you will feel some transformation from within. I hear from so many people who say that I've been doing havan every week, every weekend, or every day, and it has really transformed me. I have even heard from people who were addicted to drugs and other things, drugs, alcohol, and they told me that they tried various things to overcome the addiction, but after they started havan on a regular basis, they were able to overcome the addiction. So there are several anecdotes like that, and there are also some scientific studies that talk about the material benefits. But I think the subtle inner benefits are even more important. And in the end, if you do it enough, you will see that you are able to connect with the subtle aspects of your own consciousness, and that is really the essence of spiritual progress. So if, for example, if Brahaspati blesses you, you are making offerings to Brahaspati, he blesses you, your intellect becomes sharper. You are making offerings to Ganapati every day, you get an ability to make solid planning that avoids obstacles, because that's what Ganapati represents. And if you are worshipping Lakshmi, you basically get that happiness and sense of well-being and the sense that things are fine. So that aspect within you will become strengthened, and when that becomes strengthened, automatically you will engage in actions that result in further and further well-being and prosperity and progress. So there is a accumulating kind of effect as you do it over time. The important thing is, it's important to do it on a regular basis, not just do once every 6 months or 1 year. The analogy that I love giving is, if you eat a big 20-course meal once every 6 months, you don't get much energy from it. You won't even digest it properly. It will just get wasted. You will get a stomachache or gas. But if you just eat a little bit, it could just be dal chawal or dal roti or bread and jam, peanut butter and bread. You just eat a little bit, but every day or every other day. You eat on a regular basis, you get more nourishment from it. You get more energy from it. Similarly, if there is a friend, you meet them once every 1 year, the relation is weak. If you are meeting that friend every day or every weekend, interacting, your interaction is intact and basically your relation is stronger. Similarly, if you use the medium of fire to connect with various devas on a regular basis, and you make a sincere effort, even if it's not perfect, you make a sincere effort every day, it will nourish you spiritually. It will help you over the long run. It will accumulate. It's like kind of like child had a piggy bank. He puts a coin every day. So over 10 years, so much money accumulates that he can buy something useful with it. Like that, you basically keep adding a little bit of karma. Keep doing this little bit of what I mentioned earlier as one of the 5 Mahayajnas. Doing Homa or Havan is known as Devayajna. So if you keep doing it on a regular basis, your connection with those devatas, connection with the Agni will become stronger.
Right. And Perena, it is also said that the ingredients that we use in the havan, they have a huge impact on not only the environment but also the energies we can't see. Ji.
Yes, yes. Again, Gayatri Parvar has done some nice research on it, and they basically tried various materials and various herbs, for example, used in Ayurveda. And because when you use Ayurvedic herbs in the havan, they produce smoke with certain qualities, so it has different benefits in terms of the health. So there is some interesting research on that. So there are, again, all this is at the material level. But the thing is, just like we have a subtle body, the materials that we are offering also have a subtle body. So that subtle body is being being offered to the devatas. So that whatever that quality is represented by it will nourish that devata. And that devata is nothing but he's also inside you. The Ganapati you're making offering to in the fire is also inside you, as your ability to plan well, make solid plans so that there are no obstacles, to avoid obstacles. So that aspect of yourself gets strengthened. And this is by resonance. See, I I like to give this example always. If you are let's say spending a lot of time with a sports person, a sports fan, you're always discussing sports. So the sports fan inside you becomes strengthened through resonance. You start thinking more about sports. If you are talking to a politics buff, the politics buff inside you becomes stronger. If you're talking to a film buff, the filmy guy inside you becomes stronger. Like that, based on what we interact with, who we interact with, what we expose our senses to, that aspect of our consciousness, because everything is inside us. There are infinite shades to our personality. So the particular aspect that is that you are spending time with, if you are spending time with certain kind of people or energies or forces, those aspects of your consciousness resonate and they become strong over time. So that is the important thing. So through resonance, if you are thinking of Ganapati or Lakshmi or Shiva for a while, especially in front of the medium of fire, the powerful medium of fire, then whatever Shiva represents or whatever Lakshmi represents, whatever Vishnu represents, that aspect within us becomes stronger and stronger over the time, and that really benefits us apart from the material benefits. And one more important point is, a lot of people ask, is this something I have to do regularly on a daily basis? Well, according to Shastras, these 5 rituals that I mentioned, taking care of guests, feeding animals and birds, havan, tarpan, and then studying and teaching scriptures, these are prescribed to be nitya karma, daily duties, and Shastras specifically say every day. So that is the ideal thing. But the thing is, if you can't do on a daily basis, you can do whenever you can. You can do as frequently as you can. And one more thing is, people are concerned, scared that if you make some mistake, if you say a mantra wrong, or if you put some wrong material, if something is wrong in my ritual, some technical mistake happens, some disaster will happen. This fear is mostly coming from confusing kamya karma with nitya karma. Shastras speak of 3 different karmas. One is nitya karma, which is prescribed daily duties, things that you have to do, kind of like brushing your teeth every day. And the second one is, and even breathing really, which you don't do every day, but you do every second. Second thing is naimittika karmas, rituals you do on special occasions like birthday, wedding, like that. And the third thing is kamya karmas, rituals you do for a special result. So when you want a particular result, you have an exam and you want to come state first in the exam, or you want to attract a person, that kind of things are called kamya karmas. So when you are doing kamya karma, it is based on a contract between some high level enlightened being like a rishi or siddha who created a procedure, whether it's given in a purana or a tantra or an agama. Somebody basically designed that procedure in a logical and intelligent way. But so there is and he or she did enough sadhana to put energy in that procedure. So there is a contract between a high level being, a devata, or could even be a lower level being, because there are so many beings. So between some unseen beings and some great enlightened being, there is some contract, and you follow his or her instructions, certain things happen. Of course, they get diluted over time as more and more people use that particular procedure. They may get diluted. And also, at the onset of Kali Yuga, Shiva intentionally corrupted some of the details so that these things are not misused by people. So, doing kamya karmas, I don't suggest doing yourself. Hire a priest, go to a good priest and get it done. So it's kind of like you have a really bad toothache. You need a root canal, or you need a dental implant, or you need a cavity fill. You go to a dentist. You don't do it yourself. So that is basically kamya karmas. On the other hand, brushing your teeth every day, you don't need to go to a doctor, dentist for that. You do it yourself. And if there is a mistake, like you're supposed to do 2 minutes and you do only 1.5 minutes, or you don't reach all corners of your teeth, that's fine. I mean, it's not disastrous. Hell is not going to break loose because of it. So the nitya karmas, doing a havana on yourself as a nitya karma, as prescribed in the shastras, is basically like brushing your teeth. So or like breathing. If your breathing is imperfect, suppose your nostrils are blocked, you have cold or allergy or something, you are unable to breathe well, you don't say, oh, my breathing is imperfect, I'm going to stop breathing. No, because you will die if you stop breathing. You have to breathe however imperfectly. Similarly, these rituals, Nityakarmas, are prescribed for a balanced and harmonious living with the rest of the universe. So they are really as important as breathing and brushing your teeth every day. And another thing is, if you do Nichakarmas, it does help you. Just like if you brush your teeth every day, it doesn't avoid cavities, but it minimizes the chance of cavities. Similarly, if you do Nichakarmas on a regular basis sincerely, it avoids the need for Kamikarmas. Basically, you will lead a balanced life with the rest of the universe. Things will in general go well for you. But occasionally, if you need to engage in a Kamikarma, let somebody else do it. So I'm not asking people to do havan as a kamikarma. Let other people, professionals, handle it, or those who are professionally trained handle it. But anybody can easily do a simple havan by themselves, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, because it's really scalable. The real procedure, there are certain offerings to certain Vedic devatas at the beginning and at the end, and then apart from it, whichever main devata you call in the Havan, whether it's Ganesha, Lakshmi, Shiva, Vishnu, etc., whichever mantra you pick, these are all optional. You can pick whatever mantra you want, whatever devata you want, and you can make the offerings with Swaha at the end. So it's basically highly scalable. You can do it in 5 minutes, you can do it in 5 hours, and if you really have the stamina, you can do it over 5 days continuously also. So it is really highly scalable. But doing a short ritual, even if it's 10 minutes or 5 minutes every day, will be really beneficial. And one more word on the materials. See, even though there are a lot of materials that have some good properties, for people who are living in apartments or who don't have a lot of good ventilation for the smoke to go out, sticking to simple materials is the best thing to do. If you just use just a few drops of ghee, clarified butter, and suppose copra is available. Copra is the dried coconut. So if dry coconut is available, make small pieces with it. And if you use those pieces and ghee, that's sufficient for doing a really nice havan. And when you do that, copra has enough oil in it, so it doesn't result in a lot of smoke, unlike firewood and cow dung cakes, etc. They result in a lot of smoke. Copra does not have a lot of smoke. Only when the fire is withdrawing, you will see some puffs of smoke. So I know many people who use copra and ghee, just that, and do havan. And also using some nuts and seeds, like sesame seeds are very auspicious according to Shastras. So black and white sesame seeds and some nuts like almonds, cashews, and other locally available nuts, because again, they have a good balance between oil and non-oily material. So they burn nicely with very little smoke. So one can pick the materials and the size of the havan kund. Size of the havan kund can be very big or it can be really small also. It can be like 2 inch by 2 inch havan kund also. I know people who do havan in 2 inch by 2 inch havan kund with just copra and drops of ghee. That can also be done. So pick whatever is the right size for you. But the most important thing is, if you do it on a regular basis, you will see that it will really make an impact on you, both outside your material life and more importantly, your spiritual life. You will start feeling much more clarity within.
Right. Priyana, last question. There is a lot of ash which is left after the havan is done. Lot of people use it as a tilak. Lot of
Yeah.
people use it differently. Your comments on that? Matlab, why do people use the
Yeah.
havan ash as a tilak? Ji.
Yeah. One thing I recommend to people is, when you do havan, there'll be some ash kind of soft material, and there'll also be some cold kind of hard black material left. And what you can do is, you can use it as a base for the next havan. If you're doing regularly every weekend or every day, you just keep putting the new offerings on top of it, and it will burn more and more and more over time. So more and more ash will form over the time. So once in a while, you can filter it and take the ash out and leave the coals there, because they can burn further. They can be used as a base for future havans. And the ash, it can be used in multiple ways. One is because it was involved in it came in touch with the fire, which was used as a medium for connecting with the divine. It has those vibrations, those spiritual vibrations of the mantras and the thoughts behind those mantras. So it becomes, and it is over a long time, so it becomes very powerful. So you can apply it as tilak on your forehead. You can apply it really anywhere on your body. Suppose you have somebody has a heart problem, you can apply in the heart area. So like that, you can apply it on your body. That is one use. The other use is, it is actually an excellent fertilizer. So if somebody is doing on a large scale with a lot of firewood, if there is a lot of ash accumulating over time, if they have a garden or a farm, it can be used as a fertilizer. It is very rich in minerals, etc. So that is another use of it. And there is another use that Incas in South America, who were in the 1200, 1300 time frame, they used to be big worshippers of fire and also sun and moon. They have sun and moon temples at the Machu Picchu. So they used to do havan on a regular basis and filter out the ash, and they used to boil the ash in water and make a tea with it and then drink the tea. You filter the ash after boiling it, you drink the tea, because you get the essence from the ashes and you drink it. So that, I'm not aware if there are any traditions in India that do that, but it is an existing tradition in South America, and it does make a lot of sense. So it can be used that way also. And you can feel free to share it with your loved ones, your extended family, your friends, anybody you care about. You can give them that sacred ash.
So it is sacred because it is helping us
Sacred.
connect.
It's definitely sacred. Yeah. And if you don't want to use it, you just want to reject it, the best way to reject it as per Shastras is in flowing water. So you throw it in a river or an ocean. The idea is, it will basically, the energy will be absorbed by the water, which feeds a lot of people in the end. So for example, river water feeds the new plants that are coming up, or it may evaporate and go into the sky and become clouds and result in rains. So bottom line is, that is what feeds everything, right? So whatever we eat comes from that water that is going up. So you are giving back to the water. So that is the traditional way. You offer it in flowing water with respect, but you can, if you have a lot of sacred ash, you can keep some for your use. It has some power.
Because life came from water, so we return the ash back to water. Very interesting.
Exactly. Source of life.
Periyana, because you said fire is the medium of connecting with Bhagwan Ji, Shri Ram Ji, Shiv Ji, Brahma Ji. There is one more thing we use fire for, and that is for Antim Kriya Karam, the last rites. Ji, your comments. Ji.
Yes, it is actually a great tradition. Unfortunately, in some religions they bury the body. First, let's use common sense. Common sense wise, if you burn the body, the advantage is, let me give an analogy. Suppose somebody was living in a house, a small apartment, a small house or hut, let's say, for a long time, and then he was living there illegally. For some reason, government decided to evict the person. So when the bulldozers come and they basically get rid of they basically raise the house, the person still has, see, if you raise it and if you basically burn away the home, the person will move on. But if you just evict the person from the house, the house is still intact and slowly decaying over time, the person may have a thought that maybe I can get back in it one day. So he may be going around the house and waiting for the opportunity. Similarly, when death comes, when the atma is forced to leave the body, it's kind of like evicting a person from the house the person was living in for such a long time. The house is just a temporary thing. The house is not you. But the thing is, the person has such attachment with the house that he thinks that by not having the house, he doesn't have anything now. He's basically he has no purpose in living. So he's so attached to the house. Similarly, we are so attached to this body without realizing that once we move on from this body, we'll get another body based on our desires, samskaras, punya, etc. We may get stuck. The atma may basically deludedly think that I can get back, hopefully. So because it takes a long time to decay, there may be extra time wasted that way. Whereas if you burn the body, Atma has no chance but to move on and find, even though it may be confusing and painful, it has no chance but to move on. And once you decide to move on, that's the most important step in the onward journey. Deciding to move on, deciding that this is over, this is it. I can't basically try to have it back. So real acceptance of that is the key. And burning the body will really force it rather than keeping the body clean and nicely burying it. So common sense wise, practically, that's a great tradition. And secondly, as we discussed earlier, fire is the purifier. So you're basically, and the body is just made of the Panchabhutas. So you are offering to the purifier, and it is returned back to the elements where it came from. Of course, if you bury also, it will be returned back to the elements, but it will take a long time. When you use the element of fire, the medium of fire, it will be much quicker. So it's a great tradition that we have in Hinduism and a few other religions.
Right. And then, like, because they're burying, the chances of it getting diseased or, things like that is much more, because the body is decomposing. There are more bacteria, more viruses.
Right.
That point is also there, and it's occupying so much of land, because in Africa, where I'm staying, there are, acres and acres which are converted into graveyards. Ji. Ji. So, Periana, your final comments, your final conclusion on this topic. Ji.
People can go to my website, vedicastrologer.org /Homa, vedicastrologer.org /Homa. Also, there is another website, easyhoma.org or easyhavan.org. So you can go to those websites and you can download the manuals. There are manuals for 32 Devata. There is a simplest manual, simple manual, regular, elaborate, like that. What I suggest is start with simplest Ganpati Homa. Then basically it will be very easy, and already tens of thousands of people are doing on their own. We don't have any organization, we don't force anybody, we just put it out there freely. You don't even need to register your email address or anything. You can just download and start doing it yourself. And we are doing this. See, there have been some movements in the past like Gayatri Parivar, Arya Samaj, who have popularized Havan. But the thing is, some of them focus on one particular mantra or one particular devata, or reject the notion of, in the case of Arya Samaj, they reject the notion of worshipping murtis or idols. They think that fire is supreme. We are fine with fire, we are fine with kalash, we are fine with fire, but fire accentuates your spiritual progress. It basically accelerates things. So what we recommend, and also people have different attitudes. Some people may like Ugra Devatas, some people may like Somi Devatas, some people may like Seva Devatas, some people may like Vaishnava Devatas. So there are 32 different Devatas that are covered in the manuals. So you can pick whichever Devata you are most attracted to. But my recommendation is start with Ganapati, do it for a few months, and then when you feel from inside that you should start worshipping some other Devata, whether it's Rama, Krishna, Narasimha, Hanuman, Vishnu, Shiva, Bhairava, Durga, Chandi, whoever it is, then switch to that Devata. But start with Ganapati in the beginning. And we are doing this at the Agnya of the Divine Mother. When we were doing a Satyajandi Mahayagna in Kalikambal temple in Chennai, the temple where Shivaji was explicitly sent by his Guru Samarth Ramdas, Sadguru Samarth Ramdas, to worship the Devi before a major battle. So that temple, we did a Satyajandi Homa in 2006, relating to Swami Jayendra Saraswati's legal troubles with a specific Sankalpa. We did a Satyajandi. During that Mahayagna, Devi gave a darshan to my Guru, Dr. Manish Pandey, and she commanded us to simplify Havan. Don't make it too complicated. Make it simple enough and accessible. And anybody who's interested in spiritual progress, irrespective of gender, irrespective of race, irrespective of birth caste, etc., let them connect with fire and connect with the divine through the medium of fire, and teach this procedure, teach a simplified procedure to anybody who's interested. So we started putting the manuals together, and slowly people found it out and started trying it. And the beauty of fire is, if you try spending time with fire in the beginning, because of the procedure technicalities, you may be a little confused with fire management. But once you get a hang of the fire management and you actually meditate in front of the fire, you feel that there is something about it. So people get hooked to it. So though we don't force anybody and we don't really have any organization, no marketing efforts, still So many people have discovered the pleasure of the company of Agnideva, and they are enjoying it on a regular basis, either every weekend or every day. So if this sounds interesting to you, I invite you to give it a try. Just buy a small havan kund, and if you don't have a havan kund, take a small bowl, a silver bowl, a small silver bowl, because copper and silver are the ideal substances, but you can use other materials also. You can use even clay pot, small clay pot, and square shape and round shape are the best shapes. So take a small round silver bowl or copper bowl, take a few copra and ghee and start doing it yourself. Go to the website vedicastrologer.org or easyhoma.org, easyhavan.org, and you just download the manuals, give it a try, do it a few times, and if you enjoy it, keep going. And if you do this, you are doing one of the 5 important rituals that are prescribed every day.
Panchyagna, one of the
Yes,
5.
it will help you. Basically, you will help the dharma in the world. We believe that in the old days, see, in Ramayana, it says in Ayodhya, everybody used to do havan every day. There is a specific mention of that. Even 100, 200 years back, there were many Brahmanas and some Kshatriyas and Vaishyas also who were doing this on a regular basis. Unfortunately, because of the change in India, because of the modern education and the lack of support from the rulers, this basically slowed down. There are very few people who do it as an offering to Devata, as a Nitya Karma. There are some Brahmanas who do Havan, but as a Kamya Karma for their for people's desires. They basically do it not as an offering, a free offering to the Devatas. So as a Nitya Karma, if more people do it, it will increase dharma in the world. Basically, the devatas around us are happier, so world will be more balanced and dharmic. So if you do this, you will help re-establish Sanatana Dharma. You will help a renaissance. You will contribute to a renaissance in the Sanatana Dharma across the world to do this. And as in the process, as a return gift from the gods, you will also benefit materially and spiritually. So benefit yourself and also feed the renaissance of Sanatana Dharma in the world. So that is my concluding message to the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining. जाने से पहले सभी viewers से request है, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the Altmake Media. I will put link of sir's vedicastrologer.org and easyhuma.org and the YouTube channel links. Please like, subscribe, and share sir's channel and the websites also. If you want to contribute, you want to get in touch, you want to send a feedback, all the links are given in the description box. इसी के साथ जय हिंद, जय श्री राम, हर हर महादेव. Thank you, sir.
धन्यवाद.